So welcome everyone. We are going to be doing a lot of review today. So we are going to start by warming up separately. The things we're going to do is review the fingerings for G, F sharp, E, D, and C. Violinists, you are going to review your bow hold. Then we're going to review terms, interval, stepwise, dynamics, solo, and whole rest and half rest, whole note and half rest rather. And then in the latter part of class, we're going to perform together a quiet walk and visiting the plaza. And then I'll give you a little bit of time for some questions. And if you need to practice something again, we can do that at the end as well. Your homework is actually the same homework you had before break. It's going to be to practice and to turn in your practice log that shows what practice you're doing on number 19, 20, and 21. Just because, again, we're taking this week as a review week rather than pushing ahead when possibly we aren't quite ready, or maybe we just need the week for a review because we haven't played our instruments in 2 weeks. Make sure that you check for any missing work on Jupiter. I believe that everybody in this class is doing fine, but just double check your grades. And if you are missing something, just send me a message on Jupiter. That way I am alerted. I go and I check on the specific assignment and I adjust your grade. So for example, Itzel, you did that on sometime last week. I already went through and I corrected everything, so your grades are all updated. So let's go ahead and open up our browser to show our fingerings and all of our review. So let's do that. Okay, here we are in our browser. And the first thing I have up here is our first 3 notes that we learned. F sharp, E, and D. So violinists, the way you play this is your D is open 3rd string. Your E is 1st position on the 3rd string. And your F sharp is 2nd position on your 3rd string. Remember that 1st and 2nd position are the ones that have a bit of a gap between them. They're not right next to each other. But then 2nd and 3rd position, those are the ones that come right next to each other. So that is violin. For guitar, yours are open D string. D string for guitar is the 4th string. 2nd fret is your E on that same string, the D string. And 4th fret is your F sharp. So that can be a little bit challenging. Make sure that you're playing your 2nd fret with your pointer finger or your 1st finger. And then you'll be playing your F sharp with your pinky finger. That's your 4th finger. So 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, and 4th finger. You're not using the middle 2 fingers for those 2 notes. Let's scroll down a little bit. We also have new note G for violin. This is your 3rd position on the D string. So far violins, you haven't left the D string. You had open 1st position, 2nd position, and now you're adding in 3rd position on your violin. That is your G. And guitars, luckily, you're now changing strings because otherwise you would have had to move your hand up the fretboard into the 6th fret, 8th fret, and so on. So it's actually easier to play across the strings this way than to shift up and down the strings. So yours is an open 3rd string for your note G. We have one more note, which is note C for violins. This one is a little bit challenging because it's off of your D string and it's in your 3rd position of your 4th string. So 3rd position being the hardest position to have all your fingers down at the same time. You have 3rd position for C and third position for G. So it's a little bit challenging, but just remember it's third position. All three fingers are down. There is a gap between your first and second finger, and then the third finger is right beneath. Guitarists, you're on your A string, your fifth string. We just had it as open A. No, I'm sorry. No, we were on G string before. We just had open G. So this is another string. This is your fifth string. And it is your third fret, third finger. So your middle finger, right? Oh, wait. Third fret, third finger. That would be your ring finger would be playing that A. And that's the C. A, B, C. Yes, that's correct. Okay. I know we had holding the violin bow as a review on the screen, so I will do that right now. We have 3 points to remember when holding your bow. You're going to hold it with your left hand. You make your bunny face, right? And remember, the bunny doesn't have a beak. The bunny has teeth. So the teeth chomp, the beak quacks. We don't have the beak, we have the teeth. Okay, so you get into that bunny position. The second part is you place your curved thumb, see how the thumb has a curve, where the frong and grip meet. So that is that plastic part that is on the bottom of your violin bow. So basically, you bite the bow at the bottom. All fingers come together and you hold the bow from that. These 2 fingers, they don't do much. They just kind of guide the bow and put the pressure when you need to play a little bit harder. But the bite is where all the strength is. And then, of course, that's just when holding the bow. When the bow is resting up against your shoulder to play, the bow is really being held by the instrument, and the instrument is being held by your neck and your shoulder. So when you're playing, it's not as hard, but when you're practicing your bow, it'll feel very heavy. The third step is to lean the right hand to the left. Place the first crease of your first finger over the stick. So you lean the hand to the left and you place your finger down, resting on the stick. I'm going to do this with a pencil because I don't have my violin out. So I'm holding the violin, I'm biting the frong, and then my hand is shifting and I'm placing my finger on the bow. And then my pinky just comes down and rests at the tip. And this gives you a little bit more, sturdiness. Now, I'm not duckbilling. I still have the bow in my bite. No duckbilling, bite. Okay. So here are our definitions. An interval is the distance in pitch between 2 notes. So if we're looking at our website here and we pull up, we can count the distance between these pitches. For example, C to D is the distance of 1 pitch. C and D are right next to each other. But E and C are not right next to each other. They're missing a note in between. So you have to count that note too. So that's a 1, 2, 3. They are a third apart. So that's what the intervals are called. Stepwise means an interval of 1 note apart. So C to D would be stepwise. E to F sharp would be stepwise. F to G would be stepwise. Those are all from 1 note to the next. Skipwise, on the other hand, is when an interval skips a note. And it could be any amount of notes. It could be C to G. That skipped D, E, and F. It could be C to E, and that one just skipped D. it could be C to C and it skipped a whole octave. So it really doesn't matter how big of an interval it is. It's still called a skip, or sometimes we call it a jump or a leap, but a skip is definitely one of the terms for it. Dynamics. Let's see if we have any dynamics in this song or any of these songs. Doesn't look like we do. So we're probably just getting introduced to this now. You in your theory classes have heard about dynamics before. So this won't be super surprising to you. But dynamics are how loudly or softly to play your music. It's telling you how much to play. So forte is an example of a loud dynamic. And even though it's not written in this music, the symbol is here on the screen. This is lowercase f in italics is forte, loud. Solo means playing alone versus playing with an ensemble. So when you play alone at home, you are playing a solo, versus if you're playing along with somebody, then you're playing in an ensemble. Depending on how many, sometimes it's called a duet, sometimes it's called a trio, and that would be for 2 people or 3 people playing together. But just a general group of people playing together, that's going to be an ensemble. The whole note, we took a look at this last week. The whole note is the note that takes up an entire 4-beat measure. Let's see if we can find one in any of our work. Seeing a lot of half notes, but not so many whole notes. And these are quarter notes. Okay, so we don't actually have a picture of any whole notes on our music quite yet, but just so you know, this here without the brackets, the parentheses, that is a whole note. It's just a circle, or a circle with a line through it if it's on a line. And it gets 4 beats because it takes up an entire 4-beat measure. It's an open note with no stem. And finally, the half rest is 2 beats of silence. And I do know we have half notes in this. We have whole rests in this. Do we have any half rests? Yes. This right here. Let me annotate. This is a half rest. This is a half rest. This is a half note. We know there's supposed to be 4 beats in this measure. So this is 2 plus how many beats are missing / how many beats are in a half rest. There are 2. So that is our full measure, and that's what a half rest looks like. Kind of looks like a hat. You can see it by itself right here. This is the half rest. It sits on the 3rd staff line, or the middle staff line, and it sits above it. Okay, now that we have reviewed all of those terms, it's now time for us to clear our annotations and practice playing these songs together. We're going to be playing both Visiting the Plaza and A Quiet Walk today, and then we'll have some time for questions afterwards. So let's go ahead and give Visiting the Plaza a try. What I'd like for everyone to do is take a look at their line. I'll annotate the violin part. Is here. And then the guitar part is along with the vihuela part, but we don't have a vihuela player. So that is right there. If you look and you compare the notes, you can see that all of the notes are in fact the same. So you do not need to worry about playing a different note, which is good because I can then call out the notes to you. Now, give me 1 second to pull up what we need for tracks. We're starting with track 19. Let's make sure we can see everything that we need to see. The tracks over here. There we go. Nope. All right, track 19, we are playing together. You do not need to unmute yourself, but you do need to practice playing together with the other players. So here we go. I'm going to play the track. You can feel free to listen for the first time through, but after that, I'm going to have you be playing along with the track. So here's track 19.
1, 2, ready, play.
Okay, that was track 19. We had all half notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, rest, rest. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, rest, rest. Okay, let's give it another try. This time I'm going to call out the notes for you, and I do want you to be playing. Here we go.
1, 2, ready, play.
E, C, D, F sharp, D, E, C, D, E, C, E, D, C. Great. We have our notes completed. Our rhythm should be there. Now, violinists, make sure your bow and your bow hold is correct. And take a look at your down and up bows that are written right above your notes. We start with a down bow. Down bow is when you pull the bow away from your instrument. So actually it's this way, away. Let's give it another try, focusing on the up and down bows. Guitarists, please play as well.
1, 2, ready, play.
Up bow. Down bow. All right. Very good, everyone. Let's look at our second song. Again, we have our violin part and our guitar and vihuela part. They are the same. You'll notice this is where we first start to see those half rests. They still get 2 beats. Everything else in here is a half note. So that also gets 2 beats. So this is track 20. Let's listen the first time. Feel free to practice while you're listening.
1, 2, ready, play.
Wonderful. Now this time we're going to play and I am going to sing along with the note names so that you can practice playing those notes. It looks like we actually only have 3 notes in this one, so it's fairly simple. Let's give it a try.
1, 2, ready, play.
C, D, E, E, C, E. Oh. I apologize. That's my fault because I was reading the notes, the letters, and right above the letters in the trumpet part, the notes are different because of the trumpet is a transposing instrument, and it just really freaked my brain out, being like I'm singing an E and I'm looking at an F sharp. So I apologize. Let's try that one again, but this time also violinists, take a look at your bow and which direction you're bowing. You're starting with a down bow.
1, 2, ready, play.
All right. So that is all that we have for today. I am going to stop our video and see if anyone has any questions. Otherwise, we'll have just a few minutes of practice time.